What if Nazi Germany had won World War II? Adolf Hitler was obsessed with the idea of a so-called Aryan master race, believing that war was the only way to achieve Lebensraum, or living space, to expand the German people. His vision for the Greater German Reich stretched eastward all the way to the Ural Mountains in Russia. This expansion plan was closely tied to the secret Generalplan Ost, a blueprint for mass genocide and ethnic cleansing. However, the actual territory occupied by Nazi Germany differed from these plans. While they did not take over Sweden, they controlled France and large parts of Europe. Between 1925 and 1940, Germany's land mass increased from 469,000 square kilometers under the Weimar Republic to 824,000 square kilometers under Nazi rule. At its peak during World War II, the total occupied area, including both civilian and military-controlled regions, was around 2.7 million square kilometers, making it the 10th largest territory in the world at the time. Today, Germany is significantly smaller, ranking 64th with 358,000 square kilometers. Why did Nazi Germany lose the war? Several critical mistakes led to Germany's defeat in World War II. A weak war economy in the early years fighting on two fronts simultaneously supply line vulnerabilities, especially in Russia's strategic blunders in key battles like Stalingrad and course declaring war on the United States economically. Germany was at a major disadvantage. While its GDP wasn't far behind the Soviet Union's, both the British Empire and the US had economies more than twice the size of Germany's. Additionally, the Axis powers lacked the vast population and natural resources that their enemies possessed. One of the most crucial resources, oil, was in critically short supply for Germany, whereas the US and the Soviet Union had an abundance. But what if these problems had been avoided? What if the Nazis had actually won the war? Alternate history. A Nazi victory this scenario has been explored extensively in fiction. At least 35 novels, 5 movies, 6 video games, and 5 TV series have imagined a Nazi victory. The most famous being Amazon's The Man in the High Castle Point. One of the biggest challenges for Nazi Germany was invading Britain. As an island nation, Britain was difficult to conquer without naval and air superiority. However, if Germany had won the Battle of Britain and prevented the successful Dunkirk evacuation, the outcome could have been different, perhaps leading to an invasion or a negotiated peace. The invasion of the Soviet Union, Operation Barbarossa, was Hitler's greatest strategic blunder. Initially, Nazi forces made rapid progress, but geography, manpower, and Soviet oil production were all against them. Despite capturing vast territories, they underestimated the brutal Russian winters and the resilience of Soviet forces. If they had prepared better, such as equipping troops with proper winter clothing and utilizing anti-Soviet sentiment among locals, like Ukrainians, their chances could have improved. Prioritizing the capture of Caucasus oil fields would have also been crucial. Even with these adjustments, a Nazi victory was unlikely, but not impossible. Could Germany have defeated the United States? The final major challenge for Germany would have been the United States. Without nuclear weapons, there was virtually no realistic way Germany could have won a direct war against the US. The American economy alone was larger than all Axis powers combined, with a significantly larger population and an abundant supply of oil to sustain its military. Hitler's decision to declare war on the US sealed Germany's fate. At best, Nazi Germany might have forced a Cold War-like stalemate rather than outright victory. If the war had ended with a divided world, similar to the post-World War II Soviet-American rivalry, Hitler could have proceeded with his Generalplan Ost, which aimed to eliminate or enslave millions of Slavic people. The plan involved exterminating 110 million people, deporting 15 million to Siberia, and Germanizing another 54 million as forced labor. Heinrich Himmler estimated that within 25 years, 10 million Germans would have settled these occupied territories. The fate of Jewish populations would have been even more catastrophic. In many occupied nations, the Nazis had already exterminated over 80% of the Jewish population, with the Holocaust killing an estimated 60% of European Jews. A Nazi victory would have likely led to the complete extermination of the remaining 4 million Jews in occupied territories. If we add the planned extermination of Slavic populations, the total additional deaths under Nazi rule could have reached 114 million. By comparison, World War II caused an estimated 80 in modern-day Greater Germany. Had Nazi Germany retained its wartime territorial expansion, modern-day Germany would be vastly different. Instead of ranking 64th in land area, it would be the 10th largest country in the world. Its population would have grown from 83 million, currently the 17th most populous nation, to the 4th largest, behind only China, India, and the US. The most populous metropolitan areas would be Paris, Berlin, Stuttgart, Frankfurt, and Katowice, with 3 of them located in Germany. Economically, Germany's GDP could have reached $9 trillion, surpassing Japan and closely trailing China. However, per capita income would drop significantly, from $48,200 to around $33,400, due to the inclusion of lower-income regions like Ukraine and Belarus. Religiously, Christianity would still dominate, with 40% Catholics, 14% Protestants, 15% Orthodox Christians, 4% other Christian denominations, 4% Muslims, 1% other religions, 21% atheists/agnostics militarily. Germany's defense budget would place it as the 3rd largest spender, behind the US and China. Its active military would rise from the 27th to the 7th largest, with 819,000 soldiers, rivaling Russia. Including reserve forces, Germany would even surpass the US and approach China. With Norway under its control, Germany would also be among the top 15 oil-producing nations, producing nearly 2 million barrels per day. Your thoughts? An estimated 300 million soldiers fought in World War II. Do you have any family members who served? Share their story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.